Hi, this is Mr. Companion. Today I'm going to show you how to assign practice assignments and quizzes to students enrolled in your CK-12 classroom. All right, let's get started. So if you haven't signed in yet, you're going to go to ck12.org, and in the top right, you're going to have an option to sign in. Now you're going to sign in with your DOE credentials through Google. So click through that, and then select your DOE credentials. Okay, excellent. Now that we're in, we have the option to start assigning work. But before we do that, I want to quickly show you how to create a classroom. So you're going to go to your name at the top right, and you're going to click My Classes. And there are two ways to do it. You're going to hit the little plus sign here, and you're going to click on Create or Connect a Class. So you can either create a class manually through CK12, or you can give assignments through Google Classroom. If you are using Google Classroom as your LMS, you should not create a duplicate class directly on CK12. Students should only access assignments made to Google Classroom through Google Classroom. So let's go over how to integrate Google Classroom with CK12. You're going to go to Subjects, select the text that you're interested in, select the topic, and start. So here's the text that I want my students to read. And you could also see that you have your interactives here and videos. Let's say I want to assign it. I'm now going to select Google Classroom. You have any notes? Complete the reading and watch the video. Connect to Google Classroom. Now it's important that you select the classroom, the user ID that you use with the Google Classroom that you're trying to connect, and you'll see all your classes pop up. So I'm going to select Physics. Show Answers gives the option of showing the students a correct answer after they've given their answer. Select the date that it's going to start and the date that it'll be due. And then click Assign. Now let's go to our Google Classroom and see what that looks like. We're going to go to Classwork, and you'll notice that we have our assignment here. Now this one's scheduled for a date in the future, but you can click through, select your credentials, and then in order to see how students are performing, you can review reports or class insights. You can also preview that assignment again. So let's head back and take a look at how to start a classroom from scratch if you're not using an LMS and you just want to have everything inside CK12. So you'll also notice that it created something called a class code. Now, this class code is a randomly generated set of characters that you could give directly to students to get them into the system if they're not on your Google Classroom or learning management system, or you don't use those and you just need to get the student into the class. This is probably the easiest way. The student will go to ck12.org and they'll punch that in and they'll be into your roster. So you have a couple options here. To start right off, you have add an assignment. So this is one way you can do it. One thing I do want to remind you is that in order for you to assign classwork, you either need to be a class leader or co-teacher in order to do that. So let's click add assignment. So right off the bat, you see here where it says create an assignment. You can click on this. And then you're provided a whole host of assets that are provided by CK12. Let's start off by going to science and then physics. And considering that the topic we're working on now is sound, we're going to click on sound. We're going to click on sound waves. Now you'll notice that in the right-hand corner of the page, a box popped up. In fact, we could add multiple different categories. But for right now, we're only going to have that first one on sound waves. And you have the option to save or to add it to a quiz. All right, so now you need to come up with a name for the assignment. I'm going to call this one Sound Practice. And you can add additional instructions for this. For example, you could tell them to be more specific or to annotate if the questions allow that. But for this example, I'm just going to provide an encouraging message, and I'm going to assign it to Physics Period 1. Now, you have an option here. You can allow students to see those correct answers after they've completed it. If you're concerned about students sharing answers, you might want to leave that checkbox empty. I'm going to check it off for this example. And the start date, I'm going to just pick today's date, and I'm going to have it closed tomorrow. You're going to click Save. So from the assignments view here, we can see our currently assigned assignments, see the dates that they're due and when they were assigned, and you can see exactly what it is that was given to the students. So they have the option to read through these two articles. They could do a practice game, and we could preview that here. They have their simulation, 11 videos, other activities as well. Please note that everything will be available to the students, so you need to be specific as to what they should complete in the instructions box. Now let's sign in as a student to see what it looks like from their perspective. So I signed in as a student and I selected answers at random just so we have some data to work with here. You can see that they met their practice goal for today, so they did enough to warrant full credit for practicing. They scored 10 out of 22 correct. They've got 4 in a row correct. It took them 4 minutes to complete the assignment, and their skill level is exploring. So skill levels run from beginning through mastery, and it just shows you how much more of the material that they understand. Now you can see that the students are offered additional materials. In fact, here are 20 different things that they can take a look at that all relate to the topic of sound for Regents physics. If you notice here, those students can now review their assignments. In this case, 10 out of 22. They got 3 out of 3 easy ones correct, 4 out of 10 medium, and 3 out of 9 hard ones. And you can see whether or not they scored on their first try, second try, or what. It also ties in the next generation science standards, so that link is provided for you and them. Okay, so now I'm signed back in as a teacher. I'm under the assignments tab, and now I want to show you how to create a quiz. So to do a quiz, you're going to go to create an assignment, but this time we're going to jump right to add a quiz to the assignment. So here you have a few options. In this case, we're going to call it quiz 1. This is a quiz. You may use a calculator. I don't know, up to you. Number of attempts. You could give them unlimited attempts or limited ups from 1 through 10. In this case, we'll give them 1 attempt. You also have an option to set time limit, select language, show solution, and allow students to pause and resume. Both of these options are dictated by what you do with time limit. If you put the time limit to minutes, those become grayed out. You can't access those choices. And lastly, you have the option to shuffle questions, again, if cheating is a concern. Let's select our question set. You're going to select science, physics. In this case, we're looking at sound waves. So now we have 51 questions to choose from. And again, you can select how many you want or edit those. And then lastly, you click create. And lastly, I want to show you where you can get student practice and testing data. You're just going to go over to reports, click through, you'll see the student's name, you see the assignment, and you can go through each and everything that they answered. And all that information that we saw earlier is also available for you here. 10 out of 10 correct, 4 streak, 4 minutes spent. 22 questions in total. 3 were easy, 4 were medium, and 3 were hard. So I hope this has helped. As you can see, CK12 can provide students with a great deal of study material, and it provides you, the teacher, with important data on student growth. All right, till next time, bye-bye.